Welcome to the Fantasy Debate with Sam and Tate, brought to you by Fantasy Focused and the Original Hooters. I'm Sam Holt, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Derek Tate. Derek, how the hell are you?
I don't know how you're doing over there in Los Angeles, but is the quarantine life pretty equal in similar locations? Because we're pretty much on lockdown over here in Michigan as well.
Well, so the mayor of LA made an announcement on Thursday saying that he would be locking down the city at midnight, but businesses had one more day to wrap it up, and then they would also be on lockdown. So Monday is officially my first day of being on lockdown at home. So yesterday was packing up the computers, packing up everything, making sure we had all we need, coming up with a plan for my team, and it is going to be interesting to say the least.
I just want to know, too, I have a question. What do you think this bad boy will go for on the open market?
On eBay?
Jameis Winston jersey. Yep. Tampa Bay Bucks. Come on. The highest bidder.
Highest bidder? Oh, wait. So is this one where you have the answer of what they're going for on eBay and I have to guess?
No clue.
Okay.
No clue.
I think starting bid would be like $5.
I don't know. I may set it on fire and see if it goes viral on social media. So
I think it's so sad to set all those things on fire. I mean, that's all, you didn't pay money for that. So at least, put it in the back of the closet and never wear it. Like with respect. Treat it with respect that it deserves. Put it at the bottom of a box.
Goodwill, maybe?
Yeah, you could totally Goodwill it. Some kid is going to be like, hey, a football jersey, and not know what it means until his friends make fun of him later.
Victor, I got to completely disagree. I think the 3 TP rolls is definitely more valuable than Jameis Winston Bucks jersey at this point.
I would absolutely agree. I feel like it's more canned green beans would be a good equivalent. And not a lot of people like those. So anyways, for everyone that is also on quarantine, please put your comments in. We're happy to talk to you. We're on this together. It's going to be fun. So we want to talk all free agency, tons and tons of stuff to go over. So we'll just start kind of at the top of the pile with Tom Brady going to the Bucks, since you are wearing the red. Now
you got to say it right.
I'm not going to say it like that. Do you see what I'm wearing?
Hey,
these colors, this black and yellow.
You see what
these
my
colors
dog?
Don't run.
Hold on, I got to show you my doggy. Sadie, come here. When Sadie gets in frame, she's wearing her Bucks jersey today.
Oh, that's precious.
She's wearing her Bucks jersey. It's a new day in Tampa Bay, baby. TB12. No more Jameis Winston. So initially, though, I got to ask, because obviously Brady is Brady, so it's a huge deal whenever he's leaving the Patriots. But do you think it helps Chris Godwin, Mike Evans' fantasy value? Because Jameis Winston did lead the league in passing yardage. Say what you will, but he was good for fantasy production for those two players. So what does it do for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? Does it help, hurt, or stay the same?
You know what? I kind of feel like it goes towards this staying the same to almost hurting them a little bit. And that's just because with Winston, you had so much more volume with throws. I mean, yes, you saw that Winston was going to throw it to the other team as much as his team. However, that's still a lot of volume of throws that they're not going to be getting. The benefit with Brady is the accuracy just alone. Accuracy, efficiency, just overall play is going to be better. Now that means, will they still have touchdowns? Yes, but they're not going to have that for as many catches. So for PPR, I feel like that's definitely going to hurt them, just because Brady doesn't need to throw it as many times to be as efficient. He can throw the ball down the field 3 times and score. That's it. So I think it's going to hurt their value a little bit.
I think Chris Godwin stays the same, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think that if there's one person that is going to benefit, it's going to be Chris Godwin. His ability to play out of the slot and his versatility to move all over the formation lends itself, because we know that one thing that you could take to the bank over the last 5 or 6 years for Tom Brady was that a slot receiver was going to finish in the top 20 as far as a PPR receiver, and you had a running back out of the backfield in James White that was always going to be a PPR monster himself. Mm-hmm. The Bucs don't have a PPR back to rely on, a pass-catching specialist at this current moment. No. So Godwin's the best slot receiver they have. You can maybe make Scotty Miller. Keep an eye on a name to maybe keep an eye on is Scotty Miller, because I do think he has some traits that lends itself to some heavy slot volume, but it helps Godwin. I think it hurts Mike Evans just a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. And I think a couple other people are agreeing with us as well. Tyler jumping in saying, Sam, Tate, my friends, 100% agree. Brady hurts Godwin and Evans' value. Other people joining us are Dried Ocean saying, howdy, partner. Howdy, Dried Ocean. Good to have you here.
Speaking
Darren
of
Rogers.
joining us.
I was building to that. I was building to that. My goodness.
Sorry.
You think I'm just going to leave Bucky sitting on the bench? I would never.
Let it build naturally.
Let it build naturally.
That's always my goal. Right? Natural builds. That's what we need to focus on here. It's 2020. There's a lot of commotion out in the atmosphere. I feel like we need to build naturally, folks.
Absolutely. See, I was doing a natural segue and Derek just jumped the gun.
I'm sorry. I got a little excited when I saw Bucky.
I mean, I get excited too. I understand. He's an exciting dude to have. Guys, thank you for joining us, Bucky. And guys, if you have questions for Bucks, I mean, look, people are already sounding off. Bucks to the party. Let's go.
Hello,
excited
friend.
to have you.
Hello, friends. If we don't have Jim Nance calling the Masters, you can at least have me saying hello, friends.
And we appreciate that. Now back to the Bucks really quick. Victor J's suggesting that they trade for Boston Scott.
Ooh,
I mean, that could be an interesting fit right there for a pass catching back that Brady could open up the field to. Kind of like that.
Boston Scott was fantastic with the Eagles over the last month of the season. Once Jordan Howard went down and Darren Sproles was a complete non-factor and Chris Clement, Boston Scott was actually very good towards the end of the year. So it would be interesting if they brought in any sort of pass catching specialist. Dion Lewis is also available. I wouldn't be surprised if Dion Lewis makes his way to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Dion Lewis a lot more than Boston.
Just because it's reuniting.
It feels so good.
Reuniting and it feels so good. The Friends memes will be all over the place for those two.
Reunited and it feels.
Dried Ocean saying, oh my God.
You're a soprano. I always knew it. You weren't a baritone like me.
Oh my God.
I always knew it.
So, Bucky, we were asking, though, we started off with Tom Brady. Does it actually help, hurt, or is it a neutral move for the likes of Chris Godwin and Mike Evans' fantasy value?
There's a minor dent to it because you're just not going to have blast and long balls that Jameis tended to do. But at the same time, you have to think a guy like Godwin is probably going to benefit most on this because I feel like they're going to move Godwin all throughout the formation. And they're going to put the ball in his hands. We've seen that he has an acumen for being a quality player once he gets the ball in his hands. He's an explosive player. He runs good routes. I feel like it's a match made in heaven for him. The guy I see it impacting would be Evans because Evans is going to be a bit impacted by the fact we're not just going to be blasting 40-yard balls all day long, right? We're going to be talking in the world of 5 to 15. Mm-hmm. And Evans, he's still going to be a quality player, but I think there's a dent fantasy value-wise to a guy like Mike Evans over that of Chris Godwin.
Sure, he's going to miss out on some of those big plays that we count on those big points for in the game.
Fewer big mistakes, though, from your boy Jameis Winston.
Yeah, you know.
I'll take the trade-off.
So you two are happy then. You have to be happy.
Oh, I mean, I'm a Bills fan, number one. But
sure.
Of course, I love my hometown Bucks.
Yes.
This is a good move because Jameis, it was like an old dirt road that you keep driving down and it never gets better. Mm-hmm. It just keeps getting more tattered and worn. And you have a 30 interception year. Yeah, that warrants you just getting the boot. Warrants you getting the boot. I traveled to London to watch you play. And the first play from scrimmage, you throw a pick to a linebacker, and there was no receivers around you. When you do that, I'm okay with moving on. I'm okay with it.
Sure.
I do want to ask this about Brady moving to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, though, because we know that he's had success in the past with tight ends, namely Rob Gronkowski, Gronk being a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. But even, Aaron Hernandez, and you can go back prior to him if you want to go ahead. You can list some of the tight ends that Brady's played with. But what about O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate? does this help hurt their fantasy value? I mean, OJ Howard has been a bust since the Buccaneers. He has been a bust, Buck. Unless you want to go ahead and say that he hasn't, which I have a hard time believing you can make a legitimate case that OJ Howard has not been a bust.
He is a first-round bust. He is not a bust overall.
I disagree.
Splitting hairs on the bust.
I mean,
you're putting a contingency variable on it to try to go ahead and say that he's not a bust. He's only a bust since he was picked in the first round. That's a bust. I mean, he has not lived up to his expectations and his all-world potential. So, look, he still misses. Like, he's not what I expected as far as a reliable blocker at all times. He's been dropping passes on a regular basis. I mean, I don't understand because the talent is there, but, I mean, right now, Cameron Brate's a better tight end than he is.
Okay, but speaking on the tight ends, and everyone's asking, can Brady resurrect Ryan Griffith asking if Brady can resurrect OJ Howard's career. Jay Cash chiming in saying tight ends will benefit the most. I mean, are we speaking to the fact that Brady can work in a two tight end situation and be very successful? I think we are, because obviously we saw that with Gronk and Aaron Hernandez when they were a thing.
Yeah, but Brady and Howard are not Gronk.
No, I'm not saying that they're that, but he's a very talented player. Could he help them in some way? Are they going to be at that level? Hell no, they're not. I'm not stupid, but I'm just saying, like, can they help them get a couple more catches than they would have with Winston under center?
I agree with Rodney Robinson, not a bust, second-year player. Hand up. I agree with you, Rodney. I really appreciate the impact there. It's too early to call OJ Howard a bust. We haven't seen the best. Jameis loves Cameron Brate. We know that. I think Tommy will too. And I love how I'm calling him Tommy already.
I know, like you guys are neighbors.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Tommy. Yeah.
Tommy.
They already have there's a mural that they put up here in Tampa at the port.
Yeah.
It's snowing in New England. It's beautiful here today with Bucko Bruce, but it's Tommy's face. It's unbelievable.
I'm definitely going to need you to take some pictures of that next time you go past it.
No, I could share it. I'll let you have that photo.
I think
you need to pay me like $12, but that's like a bare minimum for it. No big deal. OJ Howard, to me, I'm with Rodney. Second-year player. It is time now to put pedal to the metal and start balling. And who better than Tommy Brady, who finds a seam route? Tate, you know what I'm talking about. You find that seam route, oh boy. OJ Howard is a seam route's dream.
I'm saying, though, if he keeps playing like shit and he doesn't start living up to that potential, you've got Cameron Brate there waiting in the wings, and you know your boy Brate can play and can ball, and you know he's going to be where he needs to be, which is what you want with Tom Brady. He's all about timing. He plays within the confines of an offense, in rhythm. You need to be where you need to be. And if you're not, you'll get off the field really damn quick with Tom Brady. So, and there's only one ball, too. I mean, I'm not saying that we won't have a tight end sneak into the top 10 as far as fantasy value goes. But, I mean, you start talking about you have Mike Evans on the outside. You have Chris Godwin, who's going to be a high target volume monster. I mean, you have two quality tight ends. They're going to eat into each other's production.
Yeah.
Sure. But we've seen it work in years past from a fantasy perspective. So I think that's why it's such an intriguing question is, do you feel like Brate and OJ Howard could be top 15 tight ends at the end of 2020 or whatever, 2021? Who knows what we're going to do?
I think the question is, I mean, would that surprise you at this point? And it wouldn't surprise me if they were both top 15. No, it wouldn't.
That's a better question, Sam. Would it surprise you to see them both in the top 15? No.
No, it wouldn't surprise me. But
man, he loves a tight end.
Who doesn't? I mean,
we all do.
We got the eye roll from Tate. We're doing well this morning. But Rodney's agreeing. Brate has the better of the two, but let's see how they both play with Brady. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how he uses those weapons. What we know of Brady is that he can use anyone as a weapon on the field at any time. So he's going to see those players, obviously step up to the plate. They're going to have to. They're playing with the GOAT. They'd be stupid not to raise their game on a different level. Ryan Griffith saying, physically, OJ is built like Jimmy Graham, but they don't play in their underoos, unfortunately. That is interesting.
Yeah, underoos are good, though.
Always a good time.
OJ
I ever had a Dunkaroo?
so far
Oh my
in
God,
his NFL
Dunkaroo?
career, so far in his NFL career, OJ Howard looks like Tarzan and plays like Jane. So, and by the way, Griff, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah,
stay safe over there in Germany, my friend.
And Jay Cash saying, I know we are talking about Brady at the moment, but since this is a fantasy talk, I expect to see Eric Ebron take off this season, especially with a healthy Ben who absolutely loves his tight ends. Now, Jay, you're speaking my language, but I've got Eric a little bit further back, so you're going to have to wait, but don't worry. These colors don't run. We're talking about the Steelers a bit later. So they don't run. You got to wash it on cold, though. So,
hey,
Victor
Bucky, by the way, just in case you missed it, I am putting this is up for bid online. If you want my Jameis Winston jersey,
you know, to actually make that
starting price, like a half nickel.
Yeah,
a ham steak.
Ham steak.
One ham steak.
I think a ham steak might be more valuable. But if you wanted to actually raise money for that, you should donate that money. So if you say, I'm donating whatever funds I earn for this, you know, maybe you'll get actually a little bit more money.
I have plenty of currency right now.
There you go. Cash to just like spend and spend.
Think my mic has been my PC mic.
Your mic has been your PC mic. I didn't want to go up because I'm just glad to have you. But
look, it's amateur hour here.
There we go. I hear you better now.
All right. Sorry, folks.
Victor J is saying, who had the better year, Hurst or OJ?
Ooh, I think it's Hayden Hurst just based on volume
and getting paid.
Volume and paid. Absolutely. Those definitely make him having had a better year. Wait, where did I click on that one?
What are you doing? You gotta stay on top of the board here, Sam. Come on.
Hey, you know what? I just started my coffee. You give me a break. I had to do my face this morning. I have time.
You have plenty of break time. Okay, we're good. We're good. This is a trying time, Tate. We can't be pressing people.
I know. I'm
in quarantine. It's sunny outside. This is weird.
It's really nice outside here.
It's
I'm not going out.
I'm having to come to the realization that I'm going to have to eat it on a $60 capital loss on Jameis Winston jersey. It's
You only paid $60.
I'm never going to get that money. I'm not going to get that money back.
Rodney Robinson didn't give you $7 for it. Good show, guys. Thank you, Rodney. We appreciate it.
Thanks, pal. Thanks. I'll send it to you. So if you give me $7 for it, I will send it in the mail.
Rodney, that's like 2 ham steaks. So you're good.
Damn it. All right, let's move on to the next player because we got so much more to talk about. But Todd Gurley was released by the Rams, posting to Twitter. He got fired on his day off, which was kind of hilarious. Hashtag quarantine and chill. And then he signed pretty promptly with the Atlanta Falcons. And I think a lot of us were pretty excited about that signing. How do you guys feel?
Bucky, I'll let you go first on this one. It was interesting to watch.
Wait, you just said you'd let him go first, and then you just stumbled.
I know. Again, I'm all shaking right now. I'm all shaking.
No, go for it, Tate.
You clearly knew that you had something to say and couldn't hold it back. I know. It's your time.
Couldn't wait for it to get out.
Go for it.
I'm just surprised that we saw how quickly this all unraveled. And you're kind of looking back at that extension that Todd Gurley got, what was it, like two seasons ago? And now you're raising an eyebrow at it because they have to eat, I think it's like over $20 million worth of dead money on Todd Gurley.
Incredible amount of money.
So, and this is a team that's up against the cap. I mean, you think about how many long-term deals they've thrown out there. I mean, they just traded for Jalen Ramsey last season. They had Aaron Donald, who they extended, Jared Goff, who they extended. I mean, they signed Brandon Cooks also. I mean, like, this team is up against the cap. So the fact that they were willing to eat that much dead money in Todd Gurley, who still scored, I think it was like 12 or 14 total touchdowns last year, if I'm not mistaken. He scored 54 touchdowns over the last 3 seasons. And there's still, I mean, this is a team that just went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and a lot of that had to do with Todd Gurley. So I'm just surprised to see them willing to part ways with a guy that is still an all-pro talent. I know he's dealing with that arthritic knee, but I'm just surprised.
Well, Gurley, hometown guy, right? I feel for him, the homecoming to Georgia is a really Oh, there you go, Jay. Exactly. Back in the ATL, comeback player of the year. I'm there.
Yeah.
I think that Atlanta's offense sets up well from a fantasy perspective for a guy like Todd Gurley. I feel extremely good about him going into next year. Now, fantasy perspective, he's not a first rounder though, right? second rounder.
I think he definitely has to drop to the second round.
He's late second round. I mean, he might even be flirting with third round, but I think that's the value right there.
Yeah.
I think second round is perfect for me. Because we don't know. We haven't seen an Atlanta running back really have a significant amount of success over the last 2 years. I mean, I think that the offensive line is going to get a little bit better.
They were banged up most of last year, so they should get better.
Right. And you still obviously have an immense amount of talent on the outside with Julio and Calvin Ridley. I know that they no longer have Austin Hooper, but you still got Matt Ryan pulling the trigger, who's still playing, I think, at a pretty high level. It's just unfortunate that last year their defense, which had all kinds of talent in their own right, just couldn't seem to get on the same page and get it fixed up until later in the year. But Gurley's volume alone, and he's a system fit. I think he's a very good system fit with a lot of that zone scheme that they like to run there in Atlanta.
Yep.
He is still a very dangerous one cut and get downhill type of runner. And honestly, I don't know about Ito Smith. I mean, Smith will definitely contribute and spell Todd Gurley from time to time. I think he's a nice PPR back later in drafts, but Gurley's the guy. And I still think that Gurley has more than enough upside in the second round that could even potentially finish in the top 10 at his position.
Do you feel that the Falcons may have made a mistake, though, by kind of like pushing chips in right now? In that I think they were a team on the verge of let's just tank and rebuild.
Sure.
But this kind of resets that counter, right? I think it does. In my eyes, I see them making a move here with Todd Gurley. You know, we have the weapons. We have Ridley. We have Julio. We have, a damn decent quarterback in Matt Ryan, who really doesn't get the love that I think he deserves. And, he doesn't. Discredit to me for not really praising him, but I'm going to praise him right now. I like Matt Ryan. I think he's a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I like what they're doing. And they're basically saying we're not resetting that counter yet. Not yet.
You say that, but then they didn't re-sign Vic Beasley. I mean, they had to go and get, what was it, Dante Fowler, if I'm not mistaken. Fowler.
Big deal. Big money deal, too.
So you don't re-sign Vic Beasley, but you replace him with Dante Fowler. You don't re-sign Austin Hooper, who is now the highest paid tight end in the National Football League, but you replace him with Hayden Hurst. I think
Wait. He's the highest paid?
Yes.
Austin Hooper?
Austin Hooper.
He makes more than Kittle?
Isn't that something?
Oh, my God.
Ain't that a bit?
Bucky'd have to look off into the distance to think about that kind of money.
Hooper? I like Hooper. He's part of Little or Big Wheel, but that's my guy.
I mean, the Atlanta Falcons are still going to be they're a team that's still loaded with talent, even with the subtractions of Austin Hooper and Vic Beasley. I still think that they're going to be if they click. You saw that this has got still some of the core group that went to the Super Bowl not too long ago. What was it, like 3 or 4 seasons ago? So Atlanta still got plenty of talent. I like the move for Todd Gurley. I think he's an upgrade on what Devonta Freeman was last year.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely an upgrade. And Ryan Griffith chiming in, my first sergeant is Gurley's blood cousin, and he said his knee has been trashed since college.
Damn. Now that's an inside source right there.
Inside source, yeah.
But that's some good trash, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about
if that's a trash knee, I wish I had a trash knee.
Yeah, that's like you get a 12-pack, but you throw 6 of them out.
Yeah.
That type of trash.
Gurley's got plenty left in the tank, man. He's going to be only 26 this upcoming season. He's got another 2 or 3 very, very high productive years left in him, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I'd say 2. I'm going to limit it to 2.
To 2 good years. Rodney Robinson saying Gurley will demand teams to put an extra guy in the box. Julio will get one-on-one looks, and Matty Ice can still play well. I think that's kind of what we're saying here is that, it's going to, if they click well, this could be another high-powered offense.
Just that offensive line. Is that offensive line going to click? If they can take a step forward, then this offense is one of the scariest, if not the scariest, in the whole entire National Football League.
Yeah, if they can make a good, draft pick and shore that offensive line up, the whole line can just get healthier because, again, they were really dinged up last year. I think it could be a really high-powered offense. It'd be really exciting. Ryan Griffith saying drugs fix things, my guy.
You're not wrong, right?
Do they?
You're not wrong, brother.
Do drugs fix things?
You said it, we didn't.
So what else we got on the talk about then?
Oh, I'm gonna get to my list, Derek. Don't push me.
I know, I'm excited.
Okay, so let's keep it on running back talk and talk Melvin Gordon signing with the Broncos. How we like that fit, if we like it or not. I think it completely shoots in the foot Philip Lindsay's value, Royce Freeman's value. I mean, to me, I like him there because clearly they use the running backs a lot there. So he's going to have volume, but I think overall it doesn't maximize his output. It's just about the same to less.
Bucky?
You had your head in your hands.
I'm confused with the Broncos. Okay. Like the Broncos has been this never-ending carousel of running backs. For how long now, Tate? Since Monte Ball?
Ooh.
I mean, Monte Ball still stings for some people that invested a high.
Yeah, there's certain
dynasty draft
individuals out there in the market that might have overinvested in the man. Certain individuals that won't be named here. But
wait, did you do that?
yeah, I did it. First rounder, 2014 dynasty draft. Not my proudest moment.
Not your proudest moment. You know, we don't all have proud.
I don't know what to expect with the Broncos, right? Like the Broncos are an Isuzu trooper of an offense.
Okay. You're gonna have to illustrate that one a little bit better because I think that some of us know what that car looks like.
Well, you look on car manufacturers and you try to figure out, what is posh in the current standing, right? So for me personally, it's like Hyundai Sonata, top of the list, like super posh car, really classy. But then you got the Isuzu Trooper, 1994 model Denver Broncos.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
No, I get where I smell what you're cooking.
It's an Isuzu Trooper. It is a box on wheels. It doesn't have many amenities. There's barely air conditioning. They call it air conditioning, but it's not even realistic. So it blows on you. That's about it. It might be cold. It might be warm. It's up to you. You just got to figure that out. It's a Trooper. That's the Broncos running back situation for me. I can't trust these guys. I don't trust the Isuzu Troopers. If I had a buddy of mine that just pulled up in the Trooper, I'd say, wait a second, I got to rethink this relationship here. I don't know.
I don't want to get in the car.
Can I play golf with him? Maybe. He can fit a lot of clubs in the back of that Trooper, but will we make it home? Will we make it to Hooters after the round? I don't know these things. So there's a lot of questions there for me. I don't love the move.
No. And Jay Cash chiming in with that, saying LOL, I think on your whole, illustration, you just painted a beautiful picture for us. But Broncos didn't really need Melvin Gordon. They need a quarterback. Lindsay and Freeman were pretty solid. I mean, I think that they've got a lot working for them and growing. I mean, there was some good moments there, but their biggest need, I don't think, was a running back.
Totally agree.
I mean, so looking at this moving forward, we saw that Philip Lindsay had.
Why not a white Bronco from Ryan Griffin?
Dude, we should get Griff on here, man.
Dude, I love that.
Good
stuff. Hit that fire, man. Yeah, why not a white Bronco? Yeah, squeeze the juice. Anyway,
it's still a trooper. It's still a trooper.
So what happens to Philip Lindsay though? I mean, he had 224 carries last year, which was nearly 100 more than Royce Freeman saw. I mean, you talk about players that lost fantasy value in a dynasty format. Dear God, Royce Freeman his fantasy value is non-existent now.
No,
he's a throw-in. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets released or something of that nature. But Lindsay takes a huge hit because I don't think you bring in Melvin Gordon to play second fiddle to Philip Lindsay. So I expect Lindsay's value to drop significantly. I mean, probably like a high handcuff, maybe a running back 3 or 4 in PPR formats.
If we want to talk about spaghetti squash knees, see example A, Melvin Gordon.
It's like, where's he going with spaghetti squash?
The knees.
The knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, that spaghetti squash is not very structurally sound.
If
type
you
of
have the
thing.
requisite amount of olive oil, Sam, we can make it happen. Okay.
My goodness. Well, Ryan Griffin said he'd be joining us soon. We'd be happy to have you, Ryan. It would be awesome. Victor J is saying, damn you, Melvin. And he also chiming in, and I think we need to rank these. Draft these quarantine games. Uno, Clue, Monopoly, and Trivial Pursuit.
I'm a big Monopoly fan. A lot of people disagree with that. I'm a huge Monopoly fan. So I'm going Monopoly, Uno, Clue, Trivial Pursuit.
Wow. Tate,
Sorry to disappoint you.
you couldn't be further off here.
Guys,
Number,
it's
I'm a
about
trivial,
to get lit in here.
I'm a Trivial Pursuit man.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's number one. I love trivia, and I love really hard ass trivia. And Trivial Pursuit, you answer like 10% of the questions correctly. So if there's like a judge of character in these trying times, Trivial Pursuit is going to hold you to a higher standard. So I'm going to go with Trivial Pursuit. Then I'm going to go with Uno. Love Uno. I love a good card game. A lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I've never played Clue, so it's hard for me to rank it, but I did play Monopoly 2 nights ago. I had way too much whiskey, and things got weird by the end of it. I thought I was getting rent on all these properties, and I wasn't able to really like mind the books, the P's and the Q's, and you have the T charts, accounting. I wasn't able to keep up. I just wasn't able to keep up with it. And I feel like the fact that you can't really drink during Monopoly and be a manager of your properties is quite a detriment to the game in these quarantine times. So I'm going to go Clue despite never playing the game, and then Monopoly. So Trivial Pursuit, Uno, Clue, Monopoly.
Wow. All right.
That's horseshit.
I think that
What is yours, Sam?
You're doing it wrong.
okay, I love Monopoly, and I think Trivial Pursuit is fun, although I don't like that it makes me feel dumb when I play it
makes
because
you feel so dumb.
just like you said, you literally will answer 10% of the questions unless you're with someone, and if someone answers more than that, you get mad at that person. You're like, why? What are you doing with your life if you're so good at Trivial Pursuit? Get on Jeopardy.
Studying the cards, Sam. That's the difference. They study the cards. The only way you are getting 15+% in Trivial Pursuit is if you study the cards.
Study the cards, absolutely. But okay, so for me, some of this is nostalgia because if I'm going to be stuck at home playing board games and there's a good amount of people, I think Uno is a super fun classic, easy to play, easy to drink, and just, have a great game. So to me, I think I'd put Uno first just because of its playability and, just how the ease of play in the game. And then I think Clue would be a lot more fun to me than Monopoly because it's been a while since I've played it, but I remember loving it and like just loving all the characters and just being ridiculous with it. And then I'd put Monopoly, and then I'd put Trivial Pursuit only because I don't like to feel inferior, and I do feel dumb when I play that game.
Who are the players include? You have
Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard.
Yeah, Colonel Mustard.
Professor Plum.
Yeah, Professor Plum. And then there's a bunch of real fun, weird ones. So I think that the characters make it
Creepy fun. Uncle Buck.
I want to.
In the kitchen with the candlestick.
I want to nominate a couple games. I want to go Stratego and Risk. Risk you'll never finish. If you want something to keep you busy the entire time you're quarantined, play a game of Risk. It won't end.
Yes, and a lot of people chiming in with other games that are great. Scattergories is way better in my opinion. Josh, thanks for that.
Josh.
And then Fredley, how about Battleship or Jenga? I got drunk like 2 months ago playing Battleship at a bar with one of my friends. I haven't had that much fun in a long time. Battleship is like underrated, super fun, and
it's also very good for social distancing too.
Sure, yeah, you can be far away. Yeah, it's my board. Don't touch my board. You touch your board.
Yeah.
How about Guess Who?
Guess Who is fantastic as well. Jay Cash, loving your Isuzu Troopers and Spaghetti Squash comments. Bucks, pretty amazing analysis there. And Ryan Griffith also saying,
"Thank you, Jay." I did for you.
Ryan Griffith also saying he was told his knee was made of peanut brittle, 2 ACLs. That's brutal, man. I'm sorry about that.
Where does one get peanut brittle in a quarantine? Because I need some.
I'm not sure. I think you could probably order it for delivery from C's.
I want freshies.
You want
Only
freshies?
freshies. Yeah.
There's got to be a local bakery or somewhere that's making it and trying to stay afloat. So give them your business. Guys, got to order
My
delivery.
mom makes that like once a year around Christmas, and I house like 3 bags of it. It's ugly. It's really ugly.
Now, is that just 3 bags in front of you and you just keep going back and forth into each bag, just shoveling?
Yes, it happens over the course of about 2 to 3 hours. Yeah.
2 to 3 hours, you eat 3 whole bags. I mean, it depends on the size of the bags, I guess, but
Don't judge here. This is
I'm not
quarantine
judging.
zone.
I'm just
Quarantine
I'm more
eating
more
is
impressed.
normal eating. The normal
Impressed with the amount of food. Because
Don't
it's
act
also,
like you're not impressed.
exactly. Victor J suggesting drone delivery for the future. I mean, I think that's where we're headed.
Nope. No machines, folks. Less
No.
machines, more humanity.
Yeah, let's not have Skynet happen. So let's move on to another player. And Bucks, we can have, I'll dish this one straight to you because it's your team. But Stephon Diggs to the Bills.
It's
Love
the
it.
greatest day of my life.
It wasn't the greatest day of your life.
No, like today is.
Oh, today is?
Being on with you guys,
Oh.
talking about Stephon Diggs.
Delightful.
Huge move.
Cue the violin.
Fantastic move, though. I
Yeah.
feel like with him, John Brown, Cole Beasley, and then Dawson Knox, if he can take that next step and catch footballs, like catching football should be paramount.
I mean, it should be important in most receivers' play.
Am I
I'll
wrong?
agree with- No, it should be important. So hopefully, he can.
Prioritize catching the football.
If you watch the tape back on last year, the amount of obscene passes that Dawson Knox dropped for touchdowns, it was so maddening. But yeah, it's a great move. This really sharpens the Bills, and them re-signing Quentin Spain. Spain was our best offensive lineman last year. Re-signing him was the biggest move that they made, not Stephon Diggs. But I loved what I saw from Spain last year. And if the Bills can kind of shore some things up, Cody Ford takes, year 2 step up. Damn. Bills, we're talking in a Brady-less world in the AFC East. We're talking about a Bills winning the division here.
Win in the division and then Super Bowl?
I think Stephon Diggs was that like key market mover that just makes so much sense to just say, look, he's 26, 5 years under his belt, tons of productivity, unhappy. Why not come to Buffalo? It's basically like Land Before Time up there. You ever seen that with Sarah?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sarah is such a good stegosaurus, like one of the best that there ever was. But
I thought that Sarah was a Triceratops.
she might be, but we're going to stay with my narrative. It's 2020. To me, it just feels like this is the Bills pushing the chips in, and I really think it's going to be a very fruitful move for them. I think Diggs is a pro, and Bills could win this division, believe it or not.
It was an overpay, man. It was an overpay. 3 picks, one of them being a first for Stephon Diggs in a deep wide receiver draft. I think you could have spent that first round pick and gotten a talent somewhere around what you would get for Stephon Diggs. Diggs has games. He's boomer bust. I get that he's a fantastic route runner, and he is an elite level weapon in the fact that he can push defenses vertically. But I don't know, man. There's his tenure in Minnesota, and talk about a team that was right on the cusp of potentially making a Super Bowl run once upon a time. I mean, Diggs disappeared far too often for me to feel confident that he was worth 3 draft picks. He helps Josh Allen for sure. It makes them a better football team, 100%. I think it actually, his fantasy value stays around the same, though. He's a boomer bust wide receiver, too.
But the Bills still have 7 draft picks. They have
They're
2
loaded up,
first rounders, 2 6th rounders. And the way they've drafted in the 6th and 7th round over the last 3 years gives me a lot of faith that they're going to do the right thing. I don't know.
Look at what DeAndre Hopkins went for, though. I mean, hell, if they threw in that first rounder and a ham steak, they could have gotten DeAndre Hopkins as opposed to Stephon Diggs.
It would have taken 1 ham steak and maybe some nice whole seed mustard.
And maybe a bag of peanut brittle.
Yeah, I dip the ham steak in the mustard. That's what makes it good.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Whole seed, though.
Whole seed.
Yeah.
Interesting take. We'll have to rank mustards later.
I think
I
Bucky
think it's a
legitimately
very
could have
worthy conversation.
a full network of just cooking with Bucky and meteorologist Buck. Like Bucky can literally launch his own networks just for random shit. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I could.
Just an observation.
It's sad.
So Derek, you're calling Diggs a wide receiver 2. Fredley is calling Diggs their legit wide receiver 1.
I mean, I don't like disagreeing with an esteemed gentleman like Fredley, but I think he's a better football player than he is a fantasy football player. He's going to help Josh Allen. He has another outside one-on-one capable guy of winning against man coverage on a consistent basis. Last year, that was John Brown. And if you had a legit number 1 corner, John Brown would completely disappear.
True.
So if now you have 2 options that can get vertical in a hurry with one of the, if not the biggest arm in the entire National Football League.
Yeah.
Huge
Josh
arm.
Allen, I'm not going to say Josh Allen is out of excuses, but they should, on paper, run away with that division.
Yeah.
I agree. Defense is set up. Replacing Lorenzo Alexander will kind of be a challenge, but besides that, I think the defense is pretty well shored up. I think they'll invest. I think they'll invest 3rd, 4th round on linebacker and a cornerback, and then take a stab at a couple of guys in the 6th. 2 guys.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ryan Griffith saying R.I.P. Littlefoot's mom.
Oh, for sure.
I remember that got me right in the feels when I was a kid. That was so rough.
If you were Littlefoot, how would you have felt in those times?
I mean,
let's all try to
alone.
reflect on it.
It'd be like you're alone in the middle of a quarantine and all the toilet paper's gone.
Yeah.
It'd be that just like that. But Tim Westby also saying, and this one's to you, Bucks. I have to run to the store, Bucky. Can I get a forecast in Virginia Beach, please?
Well, first off, let's start before we get into a forecast. Let's start with hygiene. We need to wash our hands. We need to be prepared. You don't know what's coming around the bend in Virginia Beach. I've heard things there are quite squirrely. It's same here in Tampa, Florida. But when you head to Virginia Beach, it's 50 degrees. It's cloudy. It feels like 44, Tim. So it's a bit nippy out there. So you want to make sure that you are well layered. Humidity is at 94, which is surprising for this time of year. Dew point 48 degrees. That's astounding in the month of March. So let's make sure we keep that under pressure. Pressure. Speaking of pressure, we're at 30.28 inches. Are you kidding me? That's way up. So Tim, you want to stay sheltered. Okay. If you can avoid doing this store run, I would. The pressure is far too much to handle. Visibility at 4.0 miles. So things are pretty clear out there, but you want to make sure that you're safe. You're quarantined. UV index 3 out of 10. Put on a little sunscreen.
And that was weather from Bucks on Virginia.
We'll be right
Beach.
back here on the Fantasy Focus channel.
So, thank you for that. Just jump over. Wait, Ryan chiming in. I find it crazy people don't wear deodorant and have the cleanest hands on earth. Yeah, I don't know. We're in weird times, guys. We're in weird times. Very, very weird, unsettled times. But
thought of that.
let's just move on to, okay, so that was the situation we loved. Diggs going to the Bills. Now let's
That's
talk
a
a little
beer.
bit.
We're cracking beers.
We're cracking beers.
It's
Okay.
time now. We're
It is
past
time.
noon. We can move forward. You're not yet, Sam. So
No, I've still got my coffee. Once I finish my coffee, then I might go grab a Truly.
bagged
but-
wine, possibly.
I drank a lot of wine on Wednesday when we recorded last, so I don't think I can hit wine for a bit.
I drank everything in the house last night playing poker with my friends. We don't have a drinking word today. If you guys want to play, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't-
No, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm okay.
casually sipping.
Yeah. And Mike Loon saying dynamic weather forecast from the Buck. Everyone loves your weather forecast, Bucky.
Thank you, Loon.
So let's go on to
Hey, those 2 points. They'll catch up with you, Loon. So
damn the dude.
just always be on the lookout. That's all I ask.
All right, let's talk back about running backs and move on to David Johnson going to the Texans. And this can segue us into DeAndre Hopkins going to the Cardinals with that interesting trade heard around the world. Guys, how do you feel David Johnson's value is with the Texans, given this is a system where we've watched running backs struggle is a good word to use there? Is David Johnson someone who can resurrect the running game? I'm sure hope so, because I definitely just traded for him in one of my dynasty drafts, but I don't know. I'm kind of rethinking that choice. Although I don't want to rethink all my choices. So, Bucks, how about I'll go to you first on your thoughts on David Johnson?
I don't love it.
Not in love?
No, I'm not even in lust.
Are you in like?
I'm in like mode. I like it more than I liked their previous options last year. I also think that you lose Nuke Hopkins. What do they have? So what's taking away the attention? I don't know. I don't love it. I'm going to be very hesitant with David Johnson.
I mean, you got to hope that with someone like Deshaun Watson, who is such a dynamic player and, can get the ball to anyone that he needs to get the ball to, that it can help open up David Johnson just maybe a little bit. I mean, you got to have hope, right? These are dark times. We got to just have hope right now. Throw it to you, Derek.
I think it saved David Johnson's fantasy value because once Kenyon Drake arrived in Arizona, it was his backfield. And he got completely played off the football field. So it saves and keeps David Johnson relevant for you dynasty owners. But I think he's more like a low-end running back too. I mean, that offensive line isn't very good. It costs them DeAndre Hopkins, which makes that offense probably as a whole. Think about that. It costs them DeAndre Hopkins to bring in David Johnson, who hasn't averaged more than 4 yards a clip since 2016.
Legitimately the second best wide receiver in the NFL.
Legit.
Yeah.
In his prime. So
it's
just low-end running back 2 value for David Johnson. But, I mean, you still have even Duke Johnson in town that's going to get him off the field on passing down situations in certain circumstances. So it's not a home run. I mean, it just keeps David Johnson relevant. Barely.
Yeah, I get that. I definitely think it helps keep him relevant. And otherwise, yes, what else would he have done? What would have happened to his value? It would have gone later and later and later in drafts. So at least I think this gives him some value. He is a starting running back for a team, so that helps him.
But they have no receivers. They have Will Fuller, who is basically at Memorial Hospital, just 1 block from my current residence, on a permanent basis.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something. I mean, the only thing is there's a lot of receivers in this draft.
Season.
Yeah, it's
Stills 1,200 yards, 12 tutties.
Still season. Well,
you don't see it, Tate?
What are you talking about? Are we talking about DeAndre Hopkins?
No, Kenny Stills.
Oh, Kenny, no. I mean, hell no. I don't see. Kenny Stills. Somebody's got to catch passes from Deshaun Watson, but I mean, Stills is probably Cobb is going to be the most productive fantasy wide receiver of the group.
I disagree. I think Stills over Cobb.
And I still think that it's not going to be a receiver that we've talked about that's going to be their number one. I think that they're going to end up drafting from this amazing receiver class, and someone else is going to rise to the top. Because right now we're talking about a lot of, B guys. None of these guys are ones. We can all agree on that.
Absolutely. I mean, Will Fuller has the durability of Henry Rowan Gardner. I mean,
fair.
Right? Yeah.
That's a fair assessment there, Derek.
Crying out loud. Oh my God.
Henry Rowan.
Bradley, we will be getting to the Steelers shortly, I promise. We do want to talk a little bit more about DeAndre Hopkins, and then we'll be going into my thoughts on Eric Ebron to the Steelers and all the additions that we've made there.
I can't wait to hear you, Sam.
Yeah, why don't we just talk about – why don't we jump ahead?
We can jump ahead, I guess, and come back to Hopkins. So, I mean, I think Eric Ebron is a very interesting ad. I don't know that we desperately had a void at the tight end position because we were doing a lot of shuffles with that. But do I like the addition of a veteran presence that is a very consistent player when the ball is in his hands? I do like that. So I think for that, it's just a nice consistency player to have for Ben. And he's apparently throwing and feeling great. needs to shave the beard. Sorry, but he's got to do it. Like that thing is just getting a bit wily for me. Just a little trim, just so we can see the neck because it's a bit crazy. I can definitely say that. Love my quarterback, but he's got to shave that beard. It's too much. But I think also what's really funny to me is the addition of Derek Watt to the Steelers. We've now got 2 Watt brothers. That's exciting to me. Just that.
What?
Did you ever see the movie Holmes and Watson? That movie stunk.
Dude, that was the biggest steaming pile of shit I've ever seen.
I couldn't believe what I was watching, Tate. Like, I was thinking, this can't miss. John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, this cannot miss.
They never normally miss. I mean, we've had Step Brothers from them. We had Talladega Nights from them. And then that was just not.
It really should have gone straight to DVD.
It was the equivalent of a pitcher being on the pitcher's mound and throwing the ball over the center field fence instead of hitting its catcher's mitt. That was exactly what I have no words for it. If folks, we're in a time now where you probably can watch a lot more movies. Don't watch that one, but if you do watch Holmes and Watson, make sure that you have enough liquor to make it through 2 hours, because it's going to be a grueling task.
It's cringeworthy bad. Really, really, really bad.
Every joke misses. Every joke misses.
And you had that, like you said, that
is it kind of like Jameis Winston trying to like tell jokes if everything's a miss?
I mean, Jameis, when he tells jokes, he's hilarious.
I think it's more so Jameis trying to give a pregame speech, like to fire up the troops, eating a W.
Eating a W. He had the Pride Rock thing, which was the funniest video that ever hit the internet that I don't think enough people know about. If you search Jameis Winston Pride Rock, that's all you need. It is the funniest video, and it's so stupid.
I'm gonna need that reposted today on Twitter.
Yeah,
I got a lot.
The Pride Rock video it's pretty much the number one. It's the GOAT.
It's the GOAT. Good to know. All right, but going back to Eric Ebron quickly, Jay Cash saying it's an instant upgrade. Look what he did with Andrew Luck. Now he's going to be paired with a healthy Big Ben. It's going to be phenomenal.
We haven't seen a fantasy tight end though in Pittsburgh finish in the top 10 in PPR formats in a while. So
where's Heath Evans?
Heath Evans?
Yeah, where's Heath Evans?
I thought it was Heath Miller.
You don't even
you had Heath Evans and then Heath Miller. I thought
it's been a while.
Am I making things up again?
I think you might be.
Heath Evans was a fullback for the New England Patriots.
You're absolutely right. He was. See, I know football.
He was a player on a team. Got that. Nailed it.
So I do think that Ebron is going to be somewhere like he's a good late round flyer at tight end. That's all. Absolutely. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
I like Ebron. I mean, he's part of Lillard Big Wheel, which is one of the best dynasty teams that's ever been crafted over time. I like him. But at the same time, where's been the tight end fantasy value for Pittsburgh Steelers tight end?
I mean, Vance McDonald, that hype train never left the station last year.
Yeah, it didn't. You were big on it.
I was excited.
I was really excited about Vance, and he let me down again.
Well, I think the excitement with Vance was just on that big play where he absolutely stole the soul of, I think it was Chris Conley.
Oh, Chris Conti.
Chris Conti, yeah.
He spiked him into the earth.
Yeah, he's still
like a javelin.
Tate and I, when we worked at Burger King when we were 15, our boss was Chris Connolly.
It was. Yeah, I mean, he once. I think he. Hopefully, I don't get a defamation lawsuit, but I think he stole our paychecks and tried to run off with them.
Tate, he did that. Yep. He did that.
He ran off with another store manager. Went like Bonnie and Clyde, and hit the road with a bunch of underpaid paychecks.
And I was sitting there with 6 chicken nuggets and 2 double whoppers. That's all I had.
Oh my God. Well, I'm going to get through some of these great comments because we're starting to go off the rails quite a bit. Ryan Griffin saying you have to be smoking something special, some special kind of crack to get rid of D-Hop.
It's true.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to guess what Bill O'Brien's doing in his free time, but I don't think it's, doing yoga and a Peloton bike. So I think
If you try to send that trade through on Madden NFL franchise, that shit gets rejected.
yeah.
I
the
mean,
computer rejects it.
unbelievable. Horrible. I just can't explain. What are you doing, Bill O'Brien? You're ruining the Texans. And you're screwing over your franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson, by taking away his best weapon, jackass.
Hey, Will
Oh,
Jenkins
God.
throwing in there. Maybe this is the savior. It's absolutely going to be Kiki Cutie.
No. No.
No? No?
Oh,
No.
Good.
Willie Jenkins.
Jay Cash saying, he's saying this is the first time he's thrown with no pain in the elbow in years. This is back on Ben. I'm confident he will hold up. Look at the injuries he has played through his career. He has played through a stupid amount of injuries. So if he says he feels good right now, hell, I'll take that all day, every day. I mean, he's played through broken ribs, a broken foot, and just stood there throwing bombs. Just don't tackle me because I can't go down again. But then he can't get tackled because he used to be a linebacker in high school. So he's a big dude. He can take
That
it.
guy had so many injuries, you would think he was withholding information and was being interrogated. Like, you would think that these, like, all the injuries had to have been inflicted for a specific reason. That's how bad he's had it as far as injuries go. So,
Yeah. He'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
he'll be okay.
Ryan throwing in something I'm not really a fan of. What do the Steelers fans think about Jameis? I've heard things.
This
God.
could be yours, Sam.
How dare you?
This could be yours.
How dare
I'll
you?
just go ahead and
Ryan, I thought we were going to be friends.
I'll cross out the Bucks logo and put a Steelers one on there.
Why not? The guy just throws 30 picks a year. It's no big deal. You
I mean,
get
yes,
over
our
it.
defense is good, but I mean, we can't
Look at
do
his
that.
numbers. He's balling.
He's balling.
He's balling, Sam.
Pride Rock.
No, I don't. That made me sad. Please no.
Savannah.
Bradley,
Jameis
expectations
rule.
on Juju.
I'm going to miss Jameis, to be honest with you. I love the guy. He cracks me up.
I don't want that put on me and my team.
No, I think he, like, moving forward has to improve. And Tate
Has
will
to.
probably disagree with me tenfold. But wherever he lands, and maybe it's in a backup capacity, I think he can grow and learn. He's still young enough to where there is like some sort of bountiful pasture that he can roam. But I'm not sure that that's anywhere near us right now.
Yeah. Jay throwing this out there.
Wait,
Well,
did
I'd
you even
take-
know what I said there?
I saw where you were going. Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well,
Bountiful pasture, we heard.
Yeah. I thought it was a good line. I don't know.
I'm sorry I didn't laugh. I laugh at everything else you say.
No,
I
I thought it
I
was
missed
like
the
a really
opportunity
good
to
line.
laugh.
Yeah. He's just a pony that's on the run, you know.
Jay Cash saying I'd take Cam Newton before I'd take Jameis.
I wouldn't. No.
Interesting. But Fredley's saying expectations on Juju next year. Now, we talked about comeback players of the year. I think that Juju, with a healthy Ben, can absolutely come back and, rekindle the value that we all had hoped for him from before. Because he just needs someone to throw him the ball, and he needs to be healthy too, because he was dinged up a lot last year as well.
You're going to get Juju Smith-Schuster. You're going to get that guy at a significant discount in fantasy drafts this year. So I like Juju a lot this upcoming year. I also like Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I like Deontay a
Keep an
lot.
eye on Deontay Johnson. I thought he was fantastic in his rookie year.
Yeah.
I'm taking Ebron ahead of all these guys.
Eric Ebron.
I can't tell if you're sassing me or not.
I was
Um,
sassing.
Yeah.
sassing.
Yeah, I think you're sassing me.
I
Jay
was
Cash
sassing.
saying this will be much better than the Ladarius Green signing a few years back. I think he pushes Vance to tight end 1.
One does not bring up Ladarius Green.
I like that old lad Green.
Oh, lad Green. Juju will thrive with Ben back, with Deontay Johnson only getting better and James Washington being solid. Yeah, our receiving core is going to be solid if everyone stays healthy and we get back to it. So
I'll be honest. I do think Jameis Winston would be a very good fit backup to learn from Ben Roethlisberger. Not to mention, I think Mike Tomlin could have a profoundly positive impact on Jameis Winston.
Just from his management style, I think that it would be a big benefit compared.
I feel like it'd be putting him through like a boot camp to have him go with Tomlin.
I feel like Tomlin is a big, like, all hands on deck. You show me your cards, I'll show you mine, right? Mm-hmm. And I might not agree with you on everything, but I will respect you as a professional, and we're going to move through this. Like, being a manager in my everyday life, I understand that there's give and take of those situations. Mike Tomlin does seem to be a guy that will give and take and demand certain things, but also be acceptance of, he's going to throw 30 picks. So I got to be ready for that on the rebound type of thing.
I mean, throw 30 picks, but he did get his eyes fixed. So maybe the picks will go away if he knows what he's looking at.
Eyes fixed, no picks, 2020 Jameis.
2021, Ben's going to be healthy this year.
Whenever I hear Mike Tomlin speak, it makes me want to run through a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that guy just gets me juiced up.
Okay, I was like, is this a negative? Because I'm about to get real mad.
No.
I was being positive, I thought. Sam.
No, but the way that Derek was building to that, I was like, wait, are you saying like you want to run your head into a wall? Because I'm like about to go ballistic on you. But no, I agree. He gets you super hyped. I'm listening now.
If you were to tell me that I could run through a wall, I would believe it.
Yeah.
And I would sacrifice my body.
You've always been one to do that, Tate. You've always been one to sacrifice it.
I have.
You jump tables, you jump pools, you jump, burning fire pits. You're good to go.
I really hope there's videos of all of these things somewhere.
I did do a flip over a fire once upon a time. That was stupid. Yeah. I've grown up since then.
Have you?
I drank all the alcohol in the house last night. Yep. So
we're all grown up.
So you have to be responsible now. There's no alcohol left in the house.
Went right through the quarantine stash. Whoopsie.
Also sound off in the comments how fast you've gone through your quarantine stash of snacks, because I think that's what's also trending right now on Twitter. Is I had no idea I could eat this many snacks in a day.
I've already pretty much. I've stated it's going to be a quarantine 13 for me. We're going to add 13 pounds. And it's not going to be pretty. And the main reason is going to be Tostitos and salsa. I have eaten so many tortilla chips and so much salsa.
Do you have a lot of salsa stocked up then?
Oh, yeah.
Well, everyone's in agreement on Tomlin deserving Coach of the Year last season. Completely agree, Jay. He deserved Coach of the Year last season for doing so much with so little. 100%. Couldn't agree more.
It's a weird season last year.
It was such a weird season last year. So many weird games, so many weird emotional games. But I'm glad I got to see my Steelers play last year with my dad. That was awesome at the Chargers Stadium at StubHub, because it was a small stadium and it turned into a Steelers home game, and it was a beautiful win. So I will relive that day often. It was a lot of fun. But let's go ahead and just kind of wrap it up with one more recent signing that we had with Emmanuel Sanders signing with the Saints. Does he have enough left in the tank to be a wide receiver 2 option to help open up Michael Thomas even further? I think that's my main question.
Yes.
To pull the defense, to help Michael Thomas, I think is the whole purpose of this signing.
I mean, if Michael Thomas even needs any help, I mean, he
can get separation on his own, but gotta preserve the guy.
I totally understand what you're saying. And is he competent enough at this point, have enough left in the tank to be able to help out Michael Thomas? Yes. But as far as his individual fantasy value, I mean, he's a late round flyer at best. I mean, you just never know who's going to eat the most on a given week outside of Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara on a weekly basis. One week it's Jared Cook. The next week it's Traquan Smith.
The next week it's Kobe Fleener.
Yeah.
Oh, one does not bring up Kobe Fleener without Kobe Fleener. Somewhere his jersey and Jameis Winston's jersey are on sale for $1.
They're hanging in the rafters, buddy. Fleener and Winston.
Okay, but that just totally threw me off.
I'm sorry, Sam. I always do this.
You do. Okay, but so maybe Emmanuel Sanders is more someone that is going to be a matchup that you'll see that maybe is in, a daily scenario at your wide receiver 3, someone you take, just matchup dependent.
No, I'm in on it. I like Sanders' skill set. I think it actually lends itself to the Saints style of offense. I think Breeze is going to make him a viable. I think he's more of a flex player. He's still in that flex zone. He was a flex zone last year. He'll be a flex zone this year, but he's still got juice in the tank. Like, the man is still kicking it. And I am good personally with Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, I like it. It's not a signing that I hated or I thought, wasn't beneficial to both parties.
If the 49ers, who only really have Deebo Samuel as a legitimate threat, if they really thought that they had something with him, they'd bring him back. So I just think he's a cog in the wheel.
Well, I think that it was a bit crowded in San Francisco for them, for their options. So I think that he does a lot more being with the Saints than he did being in San Francisco. They had a lot. I mean, Kittle does so much for the receiving game. They didn't need that extra option. They had extra people. So there was too many people invited to that party. So now he's going to go to a party where he can, be a star. He doesn't have to be a side dish. He can be an entree.
Oh, nicely put, Sam.
Thank you.
I got no rebuttal. Well met.
I gotta admit, I like side dishes more than I like entrees most times. Potatoes.
Sure, but I mean, maybe he's going along with a barbecue of there's brisket, which I would say, to me, I would put Michael Thomas as my brisket, and then maybe ribs would be the Emmanuel Sanders. It would be the side to the main entree.
Oh wow! So it's like a side entree.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. You're getting spicy in these times. I like it.
Oh yeah. I think I'm just really hungry right now.
I'm starving now. Yes.
And I can't go out to a restaurant. I can have something delivered, but that's about it. Jay Cash saying Emmanuel Sanders is a solid wide receiver 2, not a terrible flex option.
Agreed.
Pretty much what you were saying, Bucks. And then back onto the snacks, since we're all super hungry, Victor J is saying 4 packs of beef jerky, RIP. I mean, you can go through those real damn fast. So that's no surprise there.
And it's like 400 calories. So you're good.
It's not bad.
Victor, you're doing good.
Yeah, you're killing it. Fredley's saying, Bucky, I had Tostitos with salsa last night and some cold ones. Those go well together.
Me too, buddy.
Yeah. And Tim Westby saying Pop-Tarts will be the death of me.
It depends what kind. I feel like the only ones worthwhile are the s'mores.
Oh, those are so good. I was going to say those. But I mean, I also just love the classic, and I'm going to be the weird one here. No frosting, plain strawberry Pop-Tart.
Okay, nope, you're done.
I like it. It just tastes like toast to me.
Can you take her, Mike?
Yeah, here. Can we hold on? I'll remove her from the stream.
S'mores the best. Don't remove me from the feed. My God, remove all of you from the feed. I'm just saying, it's a classic.
It's weird though. I mean,
is that weird? I like them burnt.
No, you gotta have the frosting on there.
The frosting's too sweet on that one. I like the s'mores one because that one feels more desserty. But for like a breakfast pastry,
I like the toaster strudel.
Agreed.
Toaster strudel's where it's at.
You and I never agree, but to know that we come together on toaster strudel, that is all.
Uniting factor.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yes.
Tim Westby saying, Bucky, have any recipes for chicken feet, pork bellies? That's basically only meat left at Walmart right now.
Tim, I know you're currently at the Walmart. You've stated as such. If they only have chicken feet, you need to pivot. And here's how you need to pivot. Ham steak. Go on down to the deli meat section. Find yourself some nice old slabs from Frick's Ham Steaks. Some of the best in the business. Should be about $3.40, $3.39 if I were to guesstimate. You can go down there, get the ham steaks, feel your way through it. But chicken feet, pork bellies, that's really not my comfort zone. I don't feel comfortable cooking with either of those items. So what I would recommend is you get a ham steak because I do feel comfortable there and I can help provide you with some recipes throughout this crisis. So if you do get ham steak, I'm on board. If you don't get ham steak, you need to pivot immediately into chicken nuggets. Just get a shitload of chicken nuggets, feel yourself out, barbecue sauce, ranch, whatever really floats your boat. But I mean, all the sauces are really they're all out there for you right now. Nobody's going to judge you for your sauce choice. So you just get some nuggets, chicky nuggies, and you do your thing.
My goodness. I would actually say pork bellies is something they use a lot on like those cooking shows that you find on the Food Network. So like you see them on Chopped, you see them on guys like Grocery Games. So you could get the pork bellies, pull up one of those shows, and probably find yourself a pretty decent recipe to make with that. So
no, you can also do it in pho. Like, you know, do you mess around with some pho, Tate?
What is pho? I'm serious. I mean, you
might know it as pho if you're uninitiated, of course. But it's pho, PHO. It's like it's a nice. I think it's a Japanese origin. It's like a ramen dish, broth, pork belly.
Japanese? I thought it was Vietnamese.
Might be Vietnamese. You might be right. I think you're right.
You guys you're speaking a different language right now. Like
it's a noodly dish with meat and broth, and it's bomb.
Sam you're very good at keeping it short and sweet.
Yeah.
I'm very good at elongating things.
Sam is the Pat Summerall. You're John Madden.
That's a really great analogy.
I also see one last question here. Can we end it on this?
Yeah. Wait, is the
favorite childhood show from Victor? Sam, we'll go to you first.
Favorite childhood show. Oh goodness. No, I think there's different shows I remember watching growing up. I know that it does. I mean, I'm guessing by show you mean TV show, but I know that little Sam, like toddler Sam, loved.
I take it back. You're not Pat Summerall.
Shut up.
Kidding.
Yeah, you can go wear that Jameis Winston jersey in the closet. That's where you can go. So I was gonna say, toddler Sam loved Little Mermaid and Batman. Those are the two things I loved growing up.
Are those shows though?
Like no, those aren't shows. So that's why I was saying they don't count as shows. But my parents remember watching Little Mermaid on loop because that's all I wanted to watch. Oh God, go sit in the corner and cry. Tate.
Continue.
Okay, so you gotta name a show. What was your show? Sam?
I loved Rugrats when I was a kid.
Okay.
I loved Rugrats. I loved Tommy and I loved Chucky and the shenanigans, and I loved Reptar, and I loved the idea that the chocolates that they ate that were Reptar bars, when you bit into them, were bright green and turned your tongue green.
How did you feel about Angelica though?
She was a bitch.
Such a bitch.
She was annoying, but then I felt bad on the one episode where she got the makeup from her mom and she put it all over herself, and then her parents were like, "Oh, cool, we'll just ignore her." And then she was like super just destroyed inside as a child. I thought that was a character building moment for her.
It was. She was a complicated, very multifaceted character, multi-layered, and we learned a lot from her. Tate, your favorite childhood show?
Dun 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 dun. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, baby.
Oh yeah,
all day. Leonardo leads. Donatello does machine. Not Donatello. Donatello does machines. Raphael is rude but crude, and Michelangelo is a party dude.
He is a party dude.
He's the party dude. I think everyone.
That's a good show. Both of you have good shows. For me, it was Cops. I love Cops.
That was not what I expected.
Yeah. I always wanted to know what was going on in Omaha, Nebraska. I was always like just ear down to the table when it came to Spokane, Washington, just trying to get the latest from the beat. And that's what I did back in my youth. It was Cops. And after Cops, we get right into Frasier. I love Frasier.
I'm learning so much about you right now. What shaped and molded the Bucks that we now know and love today.
Would your parents come in and you were sweating from watching Cops?
Of course.
I was watching Cops.
In fact, if I wasn't sweating, they'd think there was a problem.
I know you're lying because Cops doesn't come on till 4.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jay bringing up a good one. He liked Inspector Gadget. That was a great show.
Dun, 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 dun.
Bradley with Robotech.
Everyone knows I don't like robots, so no.
The A-Team, Knight Rider, and Ultraman, all good shows. Hey
Very
Arnold.
good.
I loved Hey
together.
Arnold. Loved Hey Arnold. That one was good. I was going.
Hey Arnold. I remember all the intros like beats to all these shows that were just mentioned. Those are the ones that stick in my mind. Also, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There was a small period of time, like 1993 to 95, where I was ape shit over that stuff.
Sure, we all were. We all dressed up as a Power Ranger at one point when we were kids. I was the pink Power Ranger.
You were pink? I was going to guess pink.
Yeah. You guys? Red.
Jason Lee Scott, the leader of the group.
Bucks, did you not dress up as a Power Ranger?
Never.
You were watching Cops.
I was watching Cops. I always dressed up as the suspects. I was never a cop. I always took the side of those folks. You know, they're doing their part.
Ryan Griffith saying what was going on Cops was shirtless dudes getting tackled.
Correct.
Which is why that's actually where Bucks originally learned how to sack me, was watching cops take down would-be criminals.
Well, life hands you lemons sometimes, Tate, and then you wind up on Cops.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign us off. I feel like we're far enough off the rails. This is no longer a football podcast. But guys, thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Fantasy Debate. We're here every Saturday, and as we are all trapped in this quarantine, you know, just stay safe, wash your hands. You know, we're here for each other, and we're here to talk football because that's what's fun. So if you want to find Bucks, please give the people all the handles at which they can find you.
No, you can just find me at TT Podcoys. That's my Talking Tottenham podcast, which most of you probably could care less about, but it's a lot like this where we drone on mindlessly about various subjects, and then we kind of talk about English football. But that's it. TT Podcoys. Thank you guys for having me on. I really do appreciate it. Love both of you. Stay healthy. Stay safe, everybody.
Yes, thank you. And you guys want to follow Derek, he's at DTater4 on all forms of social media. I am at Samantha R. Holt on Twitter and on Instagram at Sam_awesome. Guys, stay safe out there. Peace and love. Love you guys.